Awesome. Well, let's get right to it. Do some quick introductions. Dakota, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Dakota McDermott. I'm a product manager here at Concord, but I kind of split my time between our product team and our customer success and support teams. So I may join calls with some of y'all from time to time. Um, and my current big project here at Concord is taking in all of the feedback for Horizon and helping get Horizon activated for more and more customers that are using Concord. So especially if y'all are jumping into using our new Horizon product, if you have questions, concerns, wishes for future iterations, all of that is I'm your guy. I'm happy to hear and dive into it with you.
Absolutely. And I'm Zach Kinsey, head of sales here at Concord. I do all things sales here in the company and been with Concord for officially over 10 years now. So happy to be joining the call today to run you through integrations. It's funny, we've done these webinars for many, many years now, and the integrations call is always a good one because there's probably a lot of things we can do with Concord that you're not even aware of. So the idea
Mhm.
behind this specific webinar is really just to show you what's available, what's possible, and get you thinking. So that's what we're going to do today. I'll go ahead and jump in. And Vanessa is not on the call today. She's one of our main CSMs as well. I know a lot of you probably know Vanessa as well, but she will not be here today. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into Concord, and we're going to run through a few of these different integrations. If there are any integrations that you're curious about, if there's any suggestions that you have or questions you have about integrations, feel free to put them into the chat and we'll definitely address those things as they come up. Really, the plan for the call is just to kind of go through step by step. Hey, these are the things that we offer. This is what they do. This is how they work. And we can take it from there. So. Let me get to it. So if you're in Horizon, if you're in the Horizon settings, you can get to the integrations at the very bottom of the settings here. That's where those are found. If you're in our Concord Classic experience, those are going to be found in that little lightning bolt on the far left side. That's where you can access the integrations there. So we do have a brand new integration technically in the system, and that is our new MCP connectors or MCP server. And so what the MCP is the ability to connect Concord into some of these different AI tools like Claude or ChatGPT. It's a really cool thing. We've done some other webinars on that, but it's essentially the ability to ask questions about your contract database through a Claude or ChatGPT, and that's connected directly into your Concord account. It has access to the data there and it can give you some cool responses. So there's a lot of use cases for it. I'm someone who's a heavy Claude user. Like recently, I started on ChatGPT about a year ago, and I switched over to Claude a few months ago. I just found that I was getting better answers there, and it's a little bit more robust. But whatever your preference is, you could connect Concord into either one of them to be able to find those answers. So, Dakota, any other thoughts on the MCP?
Yeah, I would just say if you're wanting to set up either of these MCP integrations, reach on out to us, and we're happy to jump in and walk you through it. We do have some help documentation for it, but it is worth noting you will need someone who is an admin both on the Concord side and in your company's uh, LLM or AI account. So whether that be Claude or ChatGPT, you'll need somebody who's an admin in that account to get this integration going. But it is a super cool one once it's set up.
Yeah, it is really, really cool. I'm just pulling over our next integration here on my screen so I can show it to you. So we do have a few different ways to build your own integrations with Concord. We have Zapier, which is that middleware tool that connects in like thousands of different applications. We also have our Open API and our webhooks. I'll talk more about them in just a minute. With Zapier specifically, I use this for some of my own different like workflows, and we have a lot of customers that use this for things like contract intake. That's probably the number one use case I've seen with Zapier and Concord and Google Forms or these other things. So the use case here is you've got people in your company that need to submit a contract request. Maybe you're a contracts administrator, manager, maybe you're on the legal team, whatever, and you need for them to be able to send you an easy like have an easy process to submit that form. I talked yesterday about one of our customers who actually uses this exact process. They have a Google form. Their employees go to that Google form. It's public. It's just like a link that they share out to them. They go there, they submit the request, and then that information is automatically passed into Concord. It can even generate a document in Concord for that person on the legal team or the contracts team to review. And actually, the cool thing is they have the link to that form like in their email signature. They also have it in their Teams like bio, so people can get to it really easily. So that's what they've adopted to be able to like kind of intake all those different contract requests. And that's something you could do using a Zapier integration. Other places where this is really useful is if there's a certain tool that we don't have a direct integration with, maybe like Adobe Sign or other tools. That's where you could actually use a Zapier because they've got integrations between that other tool and Concord, and so they're able to connect them together without any real like coding or development. So, any thoughts on Zapier here, Dakota?
Yeah, one cool thing about Zapier is that you can go in and set up a Zapier account and kind of create your Zaps and do a little bit of testing all for free before you need to pay for any of the Zaps. And you can go in and see a full list of what tools are possible with anything that you're connecting. So on the Concord side, yeah, Zach opens that up. There's a whole bunch of examples that you can go into. But you can also, if you're wanting to merge with a tool that isn't in this list, you can go into Zapier and see a full list of what they have available because every tool is a little bit different. So it's always worth your first step in setting up Zapier just to make sure that what you want to do is totally doable, which most things are. And also, if you're trying to set something up and you're not quite sure the best way to do it, always feel free to reach out to us and we're happy to help.
Yep, absolutely. So that is Zapier. That is a tool that will help you connect in many different places. We do also have our API. The API is something that's a little bit more, you would have to be a little bit more technical in order to use this, really probably more of a
Mhm,
developer. The API is basically, a way that you could connect Concord with pretty much any system or data source that's
mhm.
out there. We do have this documentation for the API on our website. So if you ever wanted to take a look at, the different possibilities with that. At the very bottom here, we've got our API documentation. And so this will show you all the different paths, the things you can do with that. Really, the idea behind the API is the ability to push and pull data uh, to and from Concord. We have some customers that do some pretty cool things using the API. We have one customer who's like a massive HR company, like they run HR for a bunch of other companies in Europe, and they're using Concord to automatically generate documents using the API and send them out to all these different people, and they do like thousands of contracts a month through it. So there's a lot of different things you could do through that, and it's a pretty cool use case. Yeah, just let us know if you have questions about that or if you want to set something up. So, and then the other thing that we have is our webhooks. Dakota, I'm going to let you explain what webhooks are.
Yeah. So API and webhooks are both pretty similar. The API is we're giving you basically a doorway to the Concord database, and then giving you the tools to build a connection to push data or pull data when you want to, and then you can set up whatever sort of manual triggers you want for when that data moves back and forth. A webhook, on the other hand, is more where still it's a connection between whatever you want to build and the Concord database. The difference is we're saying, hey, here are a series of triggers for when that data needs to be pulled. And we've kind of pre-built those. So the API and the webhooks are you often someone is using both. You're using them in conjunction there. But the webhook is just saying, hey, when a specific thing within Concord happens, then I want to trigger a process. For both the Concord API and the Concord webhooks, I do recommend that you be a developer or have a developer on your team to jump in and do that. It can be pretty technical, but it is something that are very, very powerful tools when you're using them.
Absolutely. Continuing on here, we do have a few. So these are now our native integrations. These are things that are out of the box with Concord. They're plug and play. You know, you basically connect different tools in. So two of our top integrations, period, are Salesforce and HubSpot. So if you're using either one of those tools, this is a great integration point. Really, where you're going to use these integrations is you'll create a standard template in Concord. It's called an automated template that we use to connect into Salesforce or HubSpot, and then you're able to click a button in one of those tools to actually generate the document inside of Concord. So let me just show you a quick example here. Just 2 seconds. Let me switch over to my correct account. So if I'm in my deal here inside of HubSpot, I'll have the ability to click on this Concord button. So we have a whole Concord object here. I click create document, and that's going to take me into my document creation screen. It'll pull up all the templates that are available to me, and then I simply just choose which one I want to create, and I can add the contact here and send it out. So really the idea behind this is just to automate the way that you're creating your order forms, your contracts, your NDAs. You can do that all directly through here. And so you would set up that template first in Concord, you'd integrate that with either Salesforce or HubSpot, and then you can easily generate documents through the system. So that is a very popular integration, both with Salesforce and with HubSpot. They both work quite similarly with that. So yeah, if you are interested in setting those up, let us know, reach out. We're happy to help you with that process. Another cool one specifically with Salesforce is if you're using like a CPQ or another tool in Salesforce to generate the actual document first, like the quote or the order form or whatever it is, we can also push that directly into Concord once it's generated to then send it out for review and signature. So we have a few different use cases there with Salesforce and with HubSpot. So, anything you want to add there, Dakota?
No, I think those, if anybody wants a deep dive on those as well, we do have some previous webinars that just focus on those. You can find all of that as well as this webinar and most webinars we do on our YouTube page. If you're not ready for a dedicated demo, that being said, we're always happy to jump in and walk you through it on a live call.
Absolutely. I haven't seen any questions yet. If you have any questions, if you're wondering about certain integrations, let us know. Put them into the chat or the Q&A, and we're happy to answer them. Let's move on to another very popular integration, which is DocuSign. And a lot of people are like, hey, why do you need to have a DocuSign integration? You have your own built-in e-signature. It's a great question. We do have a lot of customers that have just, already purchased DocuSign. They've been using it for many years. They already have a license, and they just prefer to use DocuSign for different reasons for the actual signature, which is totally fine. As you should know at Concord, we want you to be able to work the way that you want to work. So the DocuSign integration is quite popular. Lots of people use it. The idea behind this integration is you can draft your contract in Concord using a template, uploading third-party paper, whatever. Once you're ready to get it signed, you can push that into DocuSign. There's a little button there that pops up once you have it integrated. So you can push that directly into DocuSign, get the document signed there, and then it saves that copy automatically back into Concord as a signed document. So it is a bi-directional integration. It is a very popular integration for sure, and that's one that we have there. And then we have added a second layer to that. We just recently revamped this integration, and that second layer is the ability to do a bulk import of all your documents from DocuSign. So it's especially useful when you're first getting started with Concord. We can actually do a bulk upload from your existing DocuSign account to bring everything into our tool. So Dakota, I think you want to add some more on
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I just say on the DocuSign bulk import side, it's pretty cool. You go in, you choose which folders, or if you just want to bring everything over. And it's a one-click migration where we can pull all of those documents from DocuSign into Concord. So especially if you've been with us for a while and have used this integration for a long time, that update happened sometime in the last few months. And so it is something that is worth re-looking at if you have old documents that have just lived in DocuSign that you want to pull over. Also, I see we've got a few questions here about Adobe eSign. We don't currently have a direct integration with Adobe eSign. I have seen some of our different customers using Zapier to connect there, as well as API integrations, kind of depending on what you want to do. So if y'all want to talk more about Adobe eSign, feel free to email Zachary after the call, and we're happy to see what is possible for y'all's account. But it isn't something that we have a direct integration with now. Similarly, I've got a question for Dropbox Sign, and are there any plans to integrate with Gemini? So we don't have we don't have immediate plans to add an integration with any other kind of AI platforms. We are using Gemini for some things on the back end of Concord, but um, it's going to be a few months until we see any changes. It is something we want to do, and it is on our kind of unstructured roadmap, but for what we have direct plans for, it's not there yet. And for Dropbox Sign, all we have is actually is our standard Dropbox integration. We don't have anything with Dropbox Sign specifically. Zach, is that one that you've worked with at all?
Yeah, and I think Dropbox Sign, oh no, are they the one that they're their own account? They purchased another tool, that's right. But yeah,
Hmm.
I mean, you could
Yeah.
definitely integrate with them through Zapier. That'd be the way to do it. So,
Yeah. And if you can push your documents from Dropbox Sign into Dropbox, then we're able to pull it directly out of there. But yeah, as Zach mentioned, as Dropbox Sign is kind of its own little branch, we don't have a connection with it.
yep, that's correct.
Mhm.
Yeah, they purchased, I think, HelloSign, right? That's what became
Mhm.
Dropbox Sign. So I think they're integrating it into the tool, but yeah. Cool. Continuing on here, thank you for the questions. We do have some different storage integrations, and I'm going to explain what these are. They're very simple. I'm not going to oversell them at all because sometimes people are
Gotcha.
like, "Oh, can I do this, this, and this?" And it's like, nope, it's quite simple. So with these storage connections, we have Box, Dropbox, and Google Drive. What you can do here is actually anytime you sign a document through Concord, you can have it automatically save a signed copy into one of these three systems. So if you want to have a backup automatically saved to Google Drive, which I have that turned on right now, you can do that, or Dropbox or Box. So that's essentially what it is for. We have some companies who just want to have like that secondary backup to be able to have things syncing other places. And so that's the whole reason we have them. So that is for those. We do have one other layer to the Google Drive piece, which I'll come back and talk about in just a second. But for those three, that's how it works. And then moving on to the last one here, we have company single sign-on or Active Directory. In order to have this activated, you do need to be on our enterprise plan. But if your company is using, other than I think the Google one, right? I think Google you can do with any
You
of the
can,
plans.
correct.
Yeah, so
Correct.
Google works across all of them, but the other ones you will have to have at least a the enterprise package. So this is where if you're like using a single login to log into all your accounts at your company, your IT team will probably be, setting that up. That's what that's for. So, um, question here is if
Excellent.
something is deleted in Concord, would it also be deleted in Google Drive or after the sync, they would essentially be separate docs? They are going to be separate documents. It's
Mhm.
creating its own document record inside of Google Drive, so it's going to be separate. Yeah.
Yeah. We also got a question about adding an integration with OneDrive. That isn't something that we're going to be doing in the near future. It is something that we have talked about and is in our backlog as a feature request. And so, as all of our feature requests, the more feedback we get wanting it, the more likely we are to be able to get it in the roadmap. So, always feel free to raise that with our team when you're talking with them. But it isn't something we're going to be doing here in the next few months.
Yep. There is one other place and one other component to these integrations that I want to talk about, and there's something we might want to add here, Dakota, is that word plugin. Maybe we add that here for visibility so people
Mhm.
can see it better. But I always get the question, honestly, on a lot of my calls and demos, like, hey, how do you integrate with Microsoft products or with Google products? Because every company is probably using one or the other, right? So they're using Outlook or Google Drive or whatever. So There's a couple different integration points. As many of you know, we have our calendar deadline views where you can come in here and actually see the calendar view to see all your upcoming deadlines in the system. We do have that new calendar sync feature, and that does work with both like your Outlook calendar, Microsoft calendar. It also works with Google Calendar, actually any other calendar type that you're using. So you can sync that directly over there. So technically that is an integration point where it's syncing that calendar with your own calendar. So no problem there. So that's one place. The other place that we have it is within the actual document view itself. So I'm just going to jump into this contract here, pull this up real quick. So let's say that I have a document that's in negotiation. I've added a couple of red lines and comments and markups to it, and I want to push this into either Google Docs or Microsoft Word. So I can actually push this into either one of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in this case. Take it into Word, choose how I want to handle my comments here. And we actually have plugins for both of these tools. So I'm going to show you the Google Docs one first, which is right here. So all I did is I went to export to Google Docs. In order for this to be turned on, you do have to have that turned on in the integrations. And then once you have that turned on, it's going to be able to export it out. And so now I'm not in Concord anymore. I'm in Google Docs and I have my document here. It's got all my, deletions, comments, etc. And so I could come into Google Docs, work on that with people. And then you do even have the option to send it back into Concord as well. So we do have integration there with Google Drive. That's one point I want to talk about. And then on top of that, the other integration point is with Microsoft Word. So if you were to download a document into Word, you do have all of your track changes and comments and everything here. And I don't have this set up on this computer, but we do have our new Word plugin. So Dakota, do you want to explain the Word plugin and what we just did to get that complete?
Yeah, so we're actually now in the Microsoft Word add-in store. So our Word plugin works with Word Online. So it's not the desktop app, but if you're accessing Word through your browser, or Word 360, then you can go in and connect Concord with Microsoft Word and then push documents back and forth. And the cool thing about this is it allows you to use the Word mode in Concord to maintain all of any super detailed formatting that you have. And then just push the document into Word to make any edits that you need and push it back into Concord. Also allowing you to redline and do everything, but through Word. And so this is going to be for our users who have really specific formatting needs. And so they would prefer not to use the live mode in Concord. And it makes the process a lot easier because you can do it directly in the kind of left-hand panel in Word as opposed to, or the right side panel in Word, as opposed to downloading and uploading and downloading and uploading like you would have to do without this integration.
Yep. We talked about yesterday on the webinar. We are going to do a separate webinar specifically
Hmm.
just for the Word integration. So we will probably do that in the next week or two. So just
Hmm.
look out for that. We'll show you how to get it set up. We'll run through some actual documents. So we'll be doing that soon. So yeah, we do have some questions here. A
Yes.
question, will it sync deadlines in the calendar integration? The answer is yes. So the cool thing
Hmm.
about the calendar sync, the way that it works, I don't know if you've ever like subscribed to a calendar with your existing calendar. Like I subscribe to my kids' like school calendar or sports calendars or whatever. It's the same idea where anything that you add into Concord or gets added using the AI or the extraction, whatever, any deadlines you have here will automatically sync over to your calendar. So even if even if there are new ones coming in or things change, they will automatically get synced into your calendar. So that is something that is there. Dakota, there's a few questions on that. What's the easiest way for them to set up that sync? Is it just going to be done
Yeah.
through the help center, or how do we do that?
So it's going to be done through the Help Center. It depends on which calendar you're using. There's totally different steps for Google, Outlook, or Apple Calendar. That being said, I'm going to go ahead and toss this help doc um, in both the chat and the questions. So I just shared the link to synchronizing Concord's deadlines with external calendars help doc. So there's a few steps that you have to do within Concord, and then once you do those, then it splits out for each of the calendar types, so Google, Outlook, or Apple. And then once you have this connected, as Zach mentioned, it will maintain its sync and keep up to date as long as your Concord account exists and you're having new deadlines in it.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, thank you for that. Dakota's just shared this out, I believe. So this will walk you through
Mhm.
exactly how to do that, and you can get that set up. Um, I think that was that question. And then there's another question. Is there a tool that reads the key terms on contracts and saves them to a list? Great question. That would just be done using our AI data extraction for the individual contracts. So what I mean
Mhm.
by that is any contract that you upload into Concord, we are going to automatically be able to extract out some of the key terms here using our AI, and those will get added to the reports, the lists, all those different places. So we definitely do have that capability. It sounds like maybe you may not be a current Concord customer, which is great. Or if you do have a system, we can show you how to run it. But if you want more info on that, just reach out. We can help you with it. But that is something that's available. Yep.
Yep. And we've got some big cool updates coming to that here in the next few weeks. We should be releasing our custom AI, allowing you to choose specifically what is being pulled out of the contracts. Right now, we have quite a few, but right now it's all set things that are being pulled. So the custom fields and you getting to choose which custom properties are being pulled should be out here in the goal is sometime next month.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a bunch of exciting new features coming out on our roadmap, so that's definitely stuff to look out for. I know we just have a couple seconds left here. Once again, if you ever want to see our roadmap, you can go to our website under changelog and see that upcoming roadmap. Everything here is going to be tied to Horizon, but we do have the new AI extraction, our AI agents that are coming out, new reporting, just lots of different things that are coming here in the near future. So this is somewhere that you can always check and see what's coming here really soon. Well, thank you all for taking some time. I know we're just about out of time for today. Like I said, we will do a follow-up webinar specifically on the Word plugin because we've had a lot of questions about that. So look out for that. And if you do ever have topics you'd like us to cover for the webinars or other questions for us, just let us know and we're happy to help. Anything else from your side, Dakota?
No, I think you nailed it. We enjoy being on calls with y'all. It's the fun part of our job. So always feel free to book with us and ask questions.
Yeah, thank you all. Thank you all for showing up for us every week too. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
Awesome. Wait, real quick, Zach, we've got a question here about who to reach out to. Let's
Oh,
throw the email addresses right back up here. If you're looking to add something new to your account, Zach is your guy. If you've got questions about support or if you have feedback about existing functionality, then myself or Vanessa are happy to help. I will throw my email in here as well.
yep. So there's my email. If you want to change your plan, upgrade your plan, have questions about things like that, that's going to be me. That'll help you out with all that. If you just want to set up certain integrations, probably best to reach out
Mhm.
to support, Dakota,
Yeah.
Vanessa, things like that. So, or Casey if you're working with Casey. So, yep.
Yeah, and support at concord.app is also that'll blast all of us. So that's a great, great option.
Yep, that's a good one. Excellent. Well, thank you all. Appreciate you showing up and sticking around and have a great rest of the day.